Avatar Fire and Ash has done it, crossing $1 billion and still counting after the first two Avatar movies crossed $2 billion. We can safely say that this is not a two-hit wonder anymore. But how good is the third installment? If you like movie reviews about animated fantasy and sci-fi, subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss a thing. Here are 5 things about the movie that blew my mind. Spoilers ahead, you have been warned. Number 1 was the villain balancing. From the early trailers, we could already see that this chick with the red headgear, Varang, who calls herself the Fire, and her people, the Magquan clan, who call themselves the Ash, were going to be the major villains. And Colonel Miles Quaritch, after his near-death experience in Avatar The Way of Water, still comes to pursue and kill Jake. The two are ideologically very different, but are brought together through their common goals. Varang attacks them while they are moving on what looks like a version of a flying Portuguese man of war, and while pursuing them, takes interest in guns, which she calls the Thunder. Quaritch offers to show her how they work as a bargaining chip, but soon realizes that once he is no longer needed, he is discarded. So he has to team up with his worst enemy, Jake, in order to escape the brutality of the Ash tribe. Quaritch returns to the army base and continues his mission to find Jake, but after several attempts trying to interrogate the Water tribe that refuse to let go of information, he resorts to the most radical move. He seeks out Varang because of her unique torturing methods, perfectly suited for the Na'vi tribes. He also has a trick up his sleeve as he uses a sniper to show that his surrender is not unconditional. The pride between these two, yet being impressed by each other by continuously outsmarting each other, raises the tension and excitement. I can never forget how Varang was so excited when she first used the flamethrower to light up the forest using her classic element, fire. Quaritch on his side is also loyal. He defends Varang's ally status before his superiors, and by the end of the movie also wears the Ash tribe's characteristic colors. He considers himself one of them. This duo makes a formidable force that keeps turning the tide of battle throughout the movie. The second thing, Neytiri's rivalry with Varang was sublime, but from now on I'm going to call Varang Fire because man, that name, no. Neytiri was always known as the fiercest warrior from the earlier movies, and now it was good to see someone give her a run for her money. Fire from the very beginning shoots an arrow in Neytiri's back and injures her almost fatally. But come on, we knew that Zoe Saldana is still a major part of this franchise, so she wasn't going to die like this. But it did incapacitate her enough. She was unable to use her bow even after treatment. Her signature weapon, what made her most effective on the battlefield, what she even used to defeat Quaritch in the first movie. Being unable to use her bow actually brings her to tears every time she trains, and she's unable once, twice, thrice. It's heartbreaking. We get to see this again when Neytiri breaks into Fire's tent without her notice and threatens to cut off her kuru, or that hair thing at the back of their heads that also connects their nervous system and they use for spiritual connection to Ewa. This mirrored one of the most brutal styles of the Ash tribe, killing and torturing their victims by cutting this very sensitive part of their bodies. Even Quaritch said that this was worse than death to those guys. When she threatens to cut that of Varang, at the last second, for the first time, she begs for mercy. Later on, their aerial battles are so exciting. Fire using her newly acquired flamethrower, Neytiri tactically dodging, using her flight skills even when Jake is negotiating a surrender. The two growl at each other, a sight for sore eyes. Neytiri threatening to cut off Fire's hair is a foreshadowing of how she is eventually defeated, as we shall see in the fourth reason that made this movie a masterpiece. The third thing was Spider's conflict with the family. The very first spoiler I got about Avatar Fire and Ash was that Spider was able to breathe Pandoran air for the first time without his mask. Some people say that this killed his character, but honestly, I think it was a good way of tipping the scales in favor of a human invasion, therefore raising the stakes in the movie. The surprise on everyone's face every time they saw him without a mask was a winner.
How do you and live.
He helped expose Neytiri's racism in one of the deepest marital conversations I have ever seen on screen between Jake and Neytiri. Even after he rescues Jake from his execution, Jake has resolved to kill him to prevent humanity being able to reverse engineer his condition, successfully attack Pandora and destroy it the same way that they destroyed Earth. He struggles with this decision. This is almost a mirror of the story of Abraham about to sacrifice Isaac in the Bible. Gladly, he doesn't go through with it, even when he's saying a prayer to enable him go through with it. In the end, not only does Spider help Kiri reach Ewa in a dramatic scene where she is trying to reach her and is having seizures underwater, is just about to die, and effectively turns the tide in the battle against the humans, which they were terribly losing, but he also finally brings an end to the rivalry between Jake and his father Quaritch. They end their fight by choosing to save him from falling to his death. Spider becomes the most consequential human in Avatar Fire and Ash. The fourth thing was the redemption arc of Loak. Wow, didn't see that coming. Redemption arc of Loak. At the beginning of the movie, it shows Loak blames himself for the death of his elder brother, which must have happened earlier in Avatar The Way of Water. Guys, I watched Avatar The Way of Water, but man, rewatching it in order to watch Fire and Ash, no. What I love about these movies is that you can actually get all caught up in the movie, so this helped us really connect the dots. Later on, even Jake finally shows that he also blames Loak for the death of his firstborn, the more responsible guy. And this pushes Loak to consider committing suicide, pointing the gun at himself, but later on throwing it away, and his friends come to comfort him. And when Payakan, Loak's close friend and outcast among the Talkun, those giant whale-like creatures, is banished to go to his own tribe, Loak is annoyed and frustrated by this and lashes out even at his father. Known for his impulsive nature, he goes after Payakan, who unfortunately finds out that the last surviving member of his tribe, the only one that tried to fight back against the Sky People, was brutally injured, losing all their eyes, barely holding on to life. This is the evidence that Loak and Payakan take back to the council of the Talkun, who refused to join the battle even after Jake Toruk Maktau himself has called them into battle and has once again tamed the mighty beast. This evidence tips the scales and convinces the Talkun to fight, which enables them to win the first part of the battle. But unfortunately, the humans also have some tricks up their sleeve, using a method that I think is used even by humpback whales by forming a wall around them of sound. Humpback whales usually use bubbles to make a net that surrounds sardines. The Sky People use a net of sound in order to herd together the Talkun before they kill them, just to get a drug for reversing aging. Loak also goes on to assist Jake, who is greatly injured, to rescue Neytiri, who was being tortured mercilessly once again by fire, with her classic move of connecting her own Kuru to another's Kuru. I imagine she was transferring a deadly aura towards them, all the way down to the last nerve. It is so satisfying that Kiri at the end, also finally empowered by Ewa, defeats fire by using the same method that she used so much to torture everybody else. So yes, that's what made this movie a banger, on top of course, the hugely immersive experience that you can only have in the cinema. I would call that the number 5 thing that stood out. That I can't say much. You just have to go and experience it on the big screen in Dolby Atmos. I hope Fire and Ash also hits 2 billion so that we are able to see the remaining 2 movies of James Cameron. If you like this video, check out one I did on Demon Slayer and another one I did on K-pop Demon Hunters, as well as one where I profiled the best moments from animated shows across 2025. Otherwise, from Pandora to Kampala, see you all in the next one.